Why does the world need another documentary about Mahatma Gandhi? We all know the story, right? The bespectacled old man in a white robe, the leader of the Indian independence movement, the apostle of nonviolent resistance. But is that all there is to the Mahatma? This is the question that we began with when we set out to make this film. We wanted to make a film that would be interesting not just for school children, but for adults as well. We wanted to make a film that would appeal to the global audience, yet capture the pulse of India. So we decided to focus on lesser-known aspects of his life. Like most Indians, I grew up hearing stories about Mahatma Gandhi. But it was only when I grew up that I realized how much of those stories were actually myths. For instance, did you know that Gandhiji never attended a single prayer meeting in his entire life? He didn't believe in public displays of religion. But that's a story for another day. Today I'm going to tell you about a lesser-known aspect of the Mahatma's life, his fascination with the idea of Europe. You see, despite being an ardent supporter of Indian traditional values, Gandhi was also enamored by the West. He followed Western literature and philosophy avidly. He was a teetotaler, but he liked European food and wine. He even experimented with Western clothing. In fact, when he returned to India from South Africa in 1915, he wore a European suit for his first public appearance at the Indian National Congress. He also developed a taste for Western classical music, and when he was in London in 1931, he attended a Wagnerian opera. But Indian audiences were not amused. They found this strange, and some even thought it was outrageous. In fact, when he returned from his visit to Europe in 1934, he was heckled at the airport by none other than Vinoba Bhave. He was one of the most trusted and ardent followers of Gandhi. But on this occasion, he was angry. Why? Because the Mahatma had not dressed in the traditional Indian style during his tour. So when Gandhi was in Europe, he tried to strike a balance between being rooted in his Indian identity and being open to other cultures. He made sure that he visited important religious centers like the Vatican and the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem. But he also made time to meet people from different walks of life. He met scientists and writers, politicians and philosophers, kings and commoners. In fact, during his tour of Britain, he stayed in the house of an atheist couple, the Webbs. He also became the first non-white person to stay at the Savoy Hotel in London. These were not the kind of things that a traditional Indian leader would do. But then again, Gandhi was no ordinary leader. He was a man who believed that the goal of life was to be truly free. And what did that mean? It meant being open to all ideas and all cultures, being unafraid of the unfamiliar and the different. It meant embracing the world without judgment or prejudice. And that is the lesson that we must take away from his life today. We live in a world that is becoming increasingly interconnected. We are all citizens of the world now, whether we like it or not, and we must learn to embrace the world around us. We must learn to be respectful of other cultures and other ways of life. We must learn to live in harmony with people who are different from us. That is the only way to build a better world. I'll give you another example. During his lifetime, Gandhi corresponded with a lot of world leaders. He wrote letters to President Hoover and Franklin D. Roosevelt. He even wrote a letter to Adolf Hitler. But the Mahatma's most famous letter is the one that he wrote to a young girl. In 1937, a 7-year-old girl wrote to him asking him to come to Ireland and help them get independence from British rule. She even offered to pay him $1 an hour. How did Gandhi reply? He thanked her for her offer, but he said that he couldn't come because he was needed in India. But he didn't stop there. He went on to explain to her why he was against violence and war. He told her about the power of love and nonviolent resistance, and he ended his letter with these words, "Your little letter reached me and gave me great joy. Keep this up and become an apostle of love and peace." Now that's the kind of stuff that can change the world. That's all for today. See you next week.